Hey guys, Lee from Overbite Gaming here, and today we are taking a look at Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It's basically just a remaster of the first three games, but it's Mass Effect. And I'm on record and will completely reaffirm my commitment to Mass Effect 2 being one of the greatest games of all time. I love that game so much. I got it on release, it's approximately a week ago, well, about 6.5 days. I've sunk in 62 hours. I've managed to do over a week. The benefits of being off. I'm into Mass Effect 3 now, so I can give you my opinion on all three games and the benefits thereof. Finished Mass Effect 1, finished Mass Effect 2. Finished Mass Effect 1 in about 18 hours. Mass Effect 2 obviously took a lot longer, but because it's my favourite game, I want to do a lot more in it. It does present slightly sort of a challenging aspect to this review in that it's Mass Effect. You know, those games are not new, they've been well reviewed, and what do you say about them? They're just a classic piece of gaming history. If you haven't played Mass Effect, this is certainly the ideal time to get into it. The upgrades are noticeable. I wouldn't say they're particularly game-changing though. Mass Effect 1, the shooting's still not great. It's still not as good as 2, certainly not as good as 3, which I think had the best shooting of all three games. The Mako in Mass Effect 1 still handles like a drunken cow that bounces all over the place. So the graphics are a bit better. Don't go in expecting like AAA quality graphics, but they do look nicer. They're sharper, and obviously you can go up to 4K, and it has HDR support as well. I did try using it, but I don't know whether it's my TV or my cable, but every time I turn HDR on, it capped it at 4K 30. It does run extremely well otherwise. I could get up to, like, I think the top end of like 240 frames a second, and it was running about 60-70% of my graphics card, so yeah, not demanding, which is lovely, and the CPU is set on like 8% most of the time, so yay. I love it when games are just like, here, have all of the performance you want, I don't mind, it's great. So for those of you who haven't played Mass Effect before, it follows the exploits of Commander Shepard and an impending invasion of technological life forms called Reapers, and you sort of find this out in the first game, and then in the second game it's their first sort of foray into invasion, and then in third the shit hits the fan. Now the third game is very divisive in that the ending is not at all what we thought it would be. We were promised that all of our choices would matter, it wouldn't be just like we picked A, B or C, and as it happens that's exactly what it turned out to be, and the ending cutscene was really sort of unfulfilling. They did release some DLC, free DLC I should say, after the furore, which did improve the ending substantially and gave you a bit of closure where you had none before. So that was nice to see. There is another piece of 3 DLC, which is basically the send-off. You have like a party with all of your crewmates that you've been getting to know throughout these 3 games. And, you know, come to love, really, because you spend so much time with these guys, and they're all really well written and really interesting characters. So having sort of like a party and just going around being able to do sort of like casual things with them is nice. And anyone that doesn't take the tally romance option is just wrong. I'm sorry, but you are. You can't even protest. You can try and protest in the comments down below, but no, you are wrong. It's just a fact. It's not even subjective, it's just a fact. Sorry. No, I'm not, because like, I'm right. Because I'm always right.
Where's the rest of your squad?
We tried to double back to the beacon.
But yeah, I love Mass Effect, and like,
I don't think any of the others.
I can't describe like playing 2 again. I mean, I have stayed away from it because I knew this release was upcoming. I will be upfront. I didn't pay my own money for this. It was a birthday present, so thank you, Bungle. And playing Mass Effect 2, it was like, slipping back into like your favorite pair of slippers. It was
They
just
must have come for the beacon.
almost
The
comforting,
dig site
I
is
would
close.
say.
Just
I
go for
just
that ride.
have so many
It
great
might still be
memories
there.
of like when I first got it and finished it, and like the reveal. I remember like the opening
Aye, aye,
when
sir.
the original Normandy gets destroyed, and I was just like, blown away by that opening. I was, oh man, it got me right in the feels. I was like, Jesus Christ, no, all my friends are gone, because I have no friends in real life, and the crew of the Normandy were as close as I ever got. Well, but it's undescribable, and anyone that hasn't played it, and if you do intend to pick it up, I just envy the shit out of you, because you've got such a great ride. A little bit of a rough ending, but still a great ride to go through, and there's so many moments, from Morden singing to the absolutely epic suicide mission in the second one, the opening of the first one, when you're just like, oh shit. I mean, the weak game from a gameplay standpoint is still the first one. It's always going to be the first one unless they entirely rework it and change everything about it. The inventory system in it still sucks. The shooting's not as good as the other ones. And they really haven't got a hand on what they want to do. It's also unique in the fact that your weapons overheat rather than have like heat clips, which function more or less as ammo. So you'll be able to shoot as much as you want until it overheats, and then you have to wait for it to cool down, rather than just reloading.
How do you explain that?
So it is the weaker of the games. I mean, you have some really relatively sort of drawn out missions on separate planets in the first one. It's less sort of,
Forget about Miranda. She was over
you sort of, some of them you approach and you're a bit like, oh yeah, it's this bit, okay, well. It's the exact same way as I get like when I hit Tatooine in the Old Republic.
Why haven't we heard from her?
Just like, oh, this one. Okay, well, that's 10 hours of my life I'm going to be spending going, just hurry up and end.
Okay.
Mass Effect isn't that bad, and the story and the characters and getting to know them, and the gameplay itself isn't shit, but it is the weaker of the three, definitely. But it's an older game, they were still finding their feet, and that's to be expected. The remaster has probably made more changes to that than either of the other two, but I think it needed to be deeper. I think they needed to sort out that bloody inventory system, and I would have liked to see the same shooting mechanics from the other two games imported into it. Now that would have been a hell of a lot of work, and I don't blame them for not doing it, because they're remastering 3 games. So while I'm on the subject of the changes in remaster, the Miranda ass issue, it didn't really affect my playthrough. I didn't notice anything missing from it. I mean, obviously they changed camera angles, so it wasn't quite as much all about her ass, which, she has a fantastic ass, and I have no problem with focusing on it.
But there's more to it. The Alliance
I mean,
declared you dead.
Jesus Christ, it's good enough for Chuck, it's good enough for me, that's all I've got to say about it.
Look, I'd be suspicious too.
The graphics, they're sharper, they're not, I don't know, some of the animation is still fairly archaic, especially in the first game. The mouth movement is a little bit
Well, if I won't get any more answers here,
but
let's get moving.
the textures themselves have been up-res. They're smoother, you can see more detail on them, but after a while you kind of forget there's an improvement there. I mean, after a while it just felt like I was playing Mass Effect 2 again, the regular edition. I mean, because you just get used to it and you're familiar with the game, so it's like when you get a new TV. So you went from like full HD to 4K. The first time you use like the 4K functionality on it, you're like, wow, jeez, ooh. And then you got used to it and it's just the TV. And you only notice when you go back down to like SD or 1080p or whatever. And then you're like, oh yeah, oh that's what it used to look like, okay. So I don't think, after sort of getting used to the new one, I don't think I'd appreciate it fully unless I went back and played the old one again. I mean, in my brain they look pretty much the same, but they don't. I know, obviously no they don't. There's been all sorts of enhancements to it. There's no ray tracing or anything like that. They have improved the lighting, like in the eyes and stuff. So I think it comes down to whether or not you want to pay 60 quid to get all 3 games again and play them through. I mean, I own all 3 games. I own all the DLC for all 3 games. And I'm pretty sure if I hadn't been gifted it, I still would have bought it. Just because I want to play the best version of these games, because they're just so good.
Miranda.
I mean, I didn't grow up with them. I'm older than that, unfortunately. But I have so many fond memories of playing them that it doesn't matter. I mean, I just want to play it in its best form, and this is undoubtedly its best form. Now, if you haven't played it, it's a complete no-brainer. You should play it. You should buy this. You should play it. I would recommend it over getting the older copies. It comes with all the DLC. You don't need to fuss about downloading it or anything like that. Everything's in there apart from, I think, Pinnacle Station, because the source code was corrupt and they literally lost it. Which is why the PS3 version of the first Mass Effect game, I believe, had it. Didn't have it either. It was only like on PC and Xbox, which was a shame for everybody concerned. Oh, maybe it was Mass Effect 2. Can't quite remember. I did like nearly all of Mass Effect 2. Yeah, I don't think it was. Never mind. But there's one missing. It wasn't a really good one, like Lair of the Shadow Broker or something like that. But it was okay, and it's sad not to have it there. But it can't be helped. You know, no one's to blame. It's just one of those things. I mean, you could maybe, if you catch them on sales, maybe you get everything like 1, 2, and 3 in the DLC for less. But I think for 4K, 240 frames, whatever. Yeah, it's worth doing, definitely. Just for the extra fidelity, that little premium maybe on top. I mean, I think you'd be like, I think it would probably turn out to be close to what you're paying for Legendary Edition anyway if you bought the older ones and DLC. So just go for Legendary Edition, and like, you will not regret it. I mean, I love Mass Effect. It's just one of my favorite franchises. It's just super well written. Everybody's got good backstories. The races are all interesting and varied, and it's just a universe you just want to know more about. And as you went through the games, you did, and the gameplay opened up as well. So like in the first one, you just swapped armor sets and stuff like that, and then you got the second one where you could upgrade things.
Hey.
And then finally in the third, you could like add attachments to your weapons and stuff. It was just a really nice progression, and I think 3 is probably the better game from a gameplay standpoint. The shooting's a lot tighter on it. You have the weapons modifications that you can do on the workbench, things like that. There's some bits in it that I don't agree with, like some of the story. It's obviously a bit divisive to the point where fan fiction was trying to make it all of a delusion. I'll remain relatively vague as I can, just in case you haven't played it. Although, what are you doing with your life if you haven't? I don't know. Probably something worthwhile. I don't know. And certainly the ending was a bit of a gut punch as well. But at the end of the day, it's Mass Effect. It looks better than it did. If you love Mass Effect and want to play it looking better than it looked, with higher frame rates, or if you've never played Mass Effect, then it's an easy buy. If you're happy sticking with the old versions, absolutely nothing wrong with them at all. They're just slightly less resolution and frame rate. That's about it. And the lighting bits. I mean, they did say they were like improving the game engine and the shooting in Mass Effect 1, and I was just like, it's still bad. Oh, we've improved the controls of the Mako. It's still bad. I'm sorry. I mean, there is a boost. I can't remember if the boost was actually in the first one, though, to be fair, because I haven't played Mass Effect 1 for a long time. Primarily because, like, having played 2, it's always
I owe you one.
a sacrifice to go back once you've played a recent installment that's actually better, and then you go back and play the earlier one, and you're like, oh, I kind of just want to play the other one. Unless you want to go back through the story again, which is exactly what I've done. So, guys, that's my review of Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I mean, if you're happy enough with the ones you have, stick with it. If you want that slight uptick in performance and resolution and quality, then buy it. And if you've never played Mass Effect, then buy it, please to God. What are you doing? So, I don't really have anything else to say. As I say, it's tough to review a game that you don't really need to review, you know? It's odd. But next week I've picked up Elite Dangerous Odyssey, and so I am running around getting my arse handed to me on low-level missions, because, yes, the NPCs in it are pretty damn good and outflank you and come at you from behind and all sorts of nasty things. Yes, I like dumber enemies, please. But so I'm going to be playing that for the next week, and hopefully give you a review of it on Saturday. Anyway, guys, let me know down below your favourite Mass Effect memory. What bit of Mass Effect made you just like, just represented the series for you? I mean, for me, it's got to be the suicide mission. Just like at the end when you run around and you just leap off the and you all escape, and then you're walking through and everybody that survived is like in the ship and you're just like nodding to them as you go by, and you're like, I can't wait to carry on this adventure, and then you reach free and everything's changed and you're like, oh. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of Mass Effect. If you're going to buy it, you should buy it. Buy it. If you own it already, in that case, up to you. I don't care. But take it easy, guys, and I'll catch you next time.